not only doing this one little short subject, but it got us involved where I did all of Fantasia, and before I knew it, I ended up spending $400 and some odd thousand getting music with Stokowski.
Back from intermission, the opening for the second act was Ludwig van Beethoven's The Pastoral Symphony. Walt originally wanted to use Gabriel Piern's Cydalise and the Satyr, but felt the music needed to be bigger to capture the epic scale, which is why he instead went with Beethoven. Needless to say, this short in particular had several studio notes due to the anatomy of characters. This was followed by one of the most popular subjects from the animation department, Dance of the Hours by Amilcare Ponchielli. Despite what some people believe, Walt was not a fan of highbrow music, but given the opportunity to spoof the genre and at the same time elevating it to new heights, convinced him to include this piece into the feature. Ballet performers were used as a reference point, and by the end they were able to showcase an accurate representation of complex ballet. What's even more unique is this particular short demonstrates the passage of time from early hours of the morning till late at night. Finally, we reach the end of the concert with two pieces of music that illustrates the difference of good and evil. Night on Bold Mountain by Modest Mussorgsky and Ave Maria by Franz Schubert. Walt felt it was important that the penultimate composition should have the audience feel uncomfortable to the point of being terrified, while the final shot of the movie represents hope. Both shorts were directed by Wilfred Jackson, but Bill Teitla deserves much of the credit for the style, particularly the design of Chernobog. As for Ave Maria, this subject contains one of the most elaborate single shots in all of film. The solemn processional was filmed by 9 men and took 6 days and 6 nights for this one sequence. Originally, the final shot of the movie was going to feature an appearance by the Madonna, but Walt went for a subtle approach with the sun. Visually, everything was in place, but would the movie be able to capture the feel of a concert? Walt and Stokowski wanted the sound to be extraordinary, so they had an engineer by the name of Bill Garrity develop a system using several microphones and audio channels to give the audience a surround sound feel, like an actual concert. They called it Fantasound, but today it's better known as stereo. Now, since no other film had been released in stereo, theaters had to physically install speakers to capture the sound. Because of the physical demand, Walt decided to present it as a touring event, where you were encouraged to dress up and were given programs. This roadshow experience was one of its kind. Unfortunately, for many years, the film was considered a flop. Critics were confused how to analyze this non-traditional movie, and on top of that, RKO Pictures had refused to distribute the film due to unprecedented costs. Despite that, Walt would not budge and the film would be released on November 30th, 1940. Ironically, the film was released at the same theater where Steamboat Willie made its debut, the Colony Theater in New York City. Despite the negative press, Walt and Stokowski were both awarded honorary Oscars for their work on the film. As years pass, the film has been viewed favorably, with many considering it to be one of the greatest animated films of all time. The film was re-released in 1969, where it surprisingly made a profit. The one regret, though, Walt had for many years was that he envisioned Fantasia as an annual event where it could theoretically never end. And although that plan never came to fruition, a sequel was made on December 17, 1999, titled Fantasia 2000. It may not have been the case initially, but Walt's gamble once again paid off. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time where we address the elephant in the room.
During the last few years, we've ventured into a lot of different fields, and we've had the opportunity to meet and work with a lot of wonderful people. I only hope that we never lose sight of one thing, that it was all started by a mouse.